Welcome to ZachD.TV, your place for interesting news from around the net. In today's episode, we are going to look at a farm that just pulled in its first autonomous harvest. Then we have a vtol taxi that just received massive funding. And we're going to wrap up with a robot that builds on a molecular scale. And if you want more interesting news like this 5 days a week, go ahead and click the subscribe button over here so you know when I upload something new. Alright, let's get into this. Researchers from the Harper Adams University over in the UK have just wrapped up their first season with their hands-free Hectare project. Have just brought in their first harvest of spring barley. That's right, they're able to pull nearly 5 tons of barley autonomously. And now I don't use that lightly either. This was completely autonomous from tilling to harvest and every step in between. These researchers decided to take on this project when they finally realized that we can run drones autonomously, we can run trains autonomously, we can do all this other stuff, but nobody's really figured out how to go from start to finish with farming. Now, I mean, of course, there are robotic tractors out there, and even some of the John Deere tractors and whatnot come with a GPS so advanced that they can navigate themselves up and down a field, but it still requires human interaction. So anyway, what these researchers did is they went out and bought the farm equipment they needed, like the small agricultural stuff you need, like your tillers and whatnot, all the way up to a tractor and a combine for harvesting. They then proceeded to make them all radio controlled. That's their first step. After that, they wrote a program that relies on GPS data to tell these machines how to behave. They do state one of their biggest struggles was to make these machines drive a straight line, which if you've ever driven through a field, you know why. They also used a specially developed quadcopter with snippers on the end of it to go through and monitor the growth of their crops and to bring samples of the crop back to the researchers. These researchers feel that this study proves that we can take humans out of the growing equation to grow more food on the same amount of land and use less resources like pesticides or fertilizers. And that by allowing complete robotic control of our harvest, we would be able to increase our yield to provide food for our growing population. In the coming years, they do plan on keeping the study going, and they want to work more on precision, the precision watering, precision fertilizing, and better ways to optimize the yield of this crop. However, for this harvest, they plan on making a limited edition brew of hand-free beer that they can distribute to all their partners and everyone who worked on this project. That, to me, sounds like the best way to use a barley harvest. Alright, let's go from the dirt to the skies. Lilium Aviation, they're a company out of Germany that makes VTOL vehicles, saw a big success earlier this year when they proved that their VTOL jet prototype was able to take off and land. This proof of concept showed that their design worked and is a viable option for automated aerial taxis. Well, this company just went through round B of financing, and they were able to achieve $90 million towards the advancement of their technology. And to show that they are a player in this market, they have hired executives from Get, Airbus, and Tesla. So these people do have the big players in this automation industry. Personally, for me though, I was excited to see they got this funding, because I feel that this is probably one of the best options for actual air taxis. It's not as loud as your standard quadcopter, it has a range of around 186 miles per charge, and it can fly at speeds up to 186 miles per hour. And I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that we get to see this go to market. So in this episode, we have gone from dirt to sky. Let's get down to an atomic level now. Researchers from the University of Manchester have created a molecular robot. I'll give you a second to let that sink in. A molecular robot. These robots are made up of just 150 carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen atoms. For a little bit of perspective, a billion of these crushed together would be the same size as 1 grain of salt. That's right, this is small. It actually builds at a molecular level. The basic concept of this machine is very similar to the ones you'd see in just about any factory, the grabber arm that can do this. The machine differs because it's on such a small level. And it actually operates, instead of getting control signals from electricity or whatever, it operates by control signals that are given chemically. Depending on the solution that is introduced to this machine is how it will act. Now, why does this matter? Well, first off, because it's just cool as heck. But second, everything is built by molecules. Everything has an atomic structure. What this is able to do then is build new elements, one molecule at a time. This could also be used in microscopic manufacturing, in scenarios where you need precise protein controls to make the newest medicine, or even put a whole bunch of these together as little microscopic factories that can build our nanobots for water purification, or for drug delivery in the human body. What this does is give us the most precise way of building ever achieved by man. And even cooler than that, this isn't sci-fi. This has happened now. Well, what do you guys think? Which one of these stories will have the biggest impact on our life going forward? Is it going to be the ability to produce more food for everyone, or the taxis that will fly us through the sky? I personally feel like the molecular robots will have the biggest influence on mankind going forward. But I'd love to know what you think, so leave me a comment down below. I do this 5 days a week, that's Monday through Friday, so I hope to see you here again. And until next time, have fun and be safe.